get this hot.
Mm-hmm.
This morning,
It's hot, hot, hot.
I'm working.
You're working.
I got my air conditioner on.
He's got the AC
I get
on.
up to get some water and I step into a fucking puddle. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
A cool,
my air
refreshing
conditioner-
puddle.
My air conditioner seems to just be leaking the fuck out of all the water that it's taking in or something. I don't know why it is leaking that much. I can't find a crack. It's not like the
Okay, so
emptying thing isn't working. Like, it all appears to be working other than the fact that water is just flying out of it at a record pace now.
so it's a matter of condensation of when you're like performing the coolant process. There's usually like a reservoir. This is like a freestanding air conditioner.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
so
has
there's
like
usually
the window unit, you know?
Oh, it's a window unit, or is it freestanding?
No, like it's a freestanding, but it has like the pipe that goes to the window.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously it's got to exhaust to somewhere, but
Yeah.
all those freestanding air conditioners like usually have a reservoir in which they like contain the condensation that it creates, and it has to get emptied every once in a while. And I guess it was doing too good of a job and generating way too much water.
Yeah, I mean, for a thing that I ran for like a month without emptying it last year, the fact that it couldn't run for like 2 hours without starting to leak today seems like a problem.
Well, I mean, you're a moisture farmer now, Neil.
But then, I suffered the rest of my day in heat.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, all right, I gotta do something about dinner. I mean, I guess it's already hot in here. I'll make some pasta.
Okay.
I grab my pot. I go over to the kitchen sink. I turn on the water, and it starts fucking spraying water out of the back of the goddamn faucet.
Ooh, bonus water.
And I'm just like, it's just, the heat happens and literally my entire house starts falling apart? What is this?
Well, it starts getting wet. That's a normal, natural, biological response for an apartment.
Yeah. It gets hot, the apartment needs to cool off by getting some cold water all over it.
Right, it's just apartment sweating.
Yeah. So that's been my day of getting way too hot and then having shit to deal with. So
getting way too hot and getting way too wet.
That's where I'm at.
Well, congratulations on surviving all of that. It sounds like you're kind of still in it, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, my day was
I'm probably going to take another cold shower after the podcast, just like the one I took right before the podcast.
He literally was like, hey, I know we delayed this another hour over what we said we were going to do to let things cool off, but I'm actually going to hop in the cold shower.
I was still too hot. I was so fucking sweaty. I couldn't.
You're a spicy man.
But we're not here to talk about spice.
No, and I'm not
sugar.
going to get a chance to talk about my day, I guess. I guess we're just going to go into the podcast now. Okay. Video games,
It's not
hello,
like you
everybody.
didn't want to talk about it. You were delaying.
You weren't giving me a chance. You kept talking about going in showers and stuff, and I was just supporting your story before I got a chance to talk about it. No, it's done. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Hi,
it's not
everybody.
important.
Video games, hello. And welcome to the Audio Games Podcast. I'm Neil.
I'm Matt. It's so nice to see you all. And when I say see you, I don't really get to see you, but it's so nice to have you listen to me. So, yeah, it's been a little bit. We've been a little slacky when it comes to putting these out, when it comes to recording them. But, I mean, it's hot. And then, we wait, and it's just bad news, and we wait, well, maybe there'll be good news. And we wait, and there's more bad news. And eventually it all, like, piles up into a big old stinky pile, and you gotta flush it out eventually. So, we're here to talk about all this terrible news, but before we get into that, maybe we should talk about what we've been playing, because I'm sure we've played quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I played a little bit.
Okay, well, I've certainly played a little bit, too. Let's start with something that we've both played that you could have been done with by now. You could have been done with it, but I don't get to talk about it in full because you're not done with it. And that's Mina the Hollower.
Yeah.
You don't like Mina the Hollower very much.
That is not entirely true. I have a lot of frustrations with Mina the Hollower.
It doesn't seem like you're happy playing it.
I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in the game, and I do think playing it is the worst part of it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, that's how you interact with video games.
Totally. But, like, you can I can talk about a visual novel and say that I'm not engaged by the way that you engage with a visual novel, even if I think the story is really good, right?
Okay, well, what do you like about Mina the Hollower? Having played
All
like
right.
95% of it.
The things I like about Mina the Hollower, I really like the way that a lot of the systems are built together for like weapon upgrades, the boning up system, all that kind of stuff is fun. I think that the construction of the world is interesting, both from narrative and aesthetics. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff about this game, and I also feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I'm playing it because it is a 2D game in so many respects, but you have a jump, for example.
Yes.
Uh, and I have found myself frequently feeling like when I jump, even if I'm not on the same plane as something that is like north of me, because our hitbox and hurtbox are like matching up in a 2D plane, I'm still getting hit. And I can't
Okay.
figure out the consistency with it. I can't figure out all these things that have made so many parts of this game feel like I am getting hit in ways where I don't understand why, because the game is presenting itself as a space where this shouldn't be happening.
I mean, I think that maybe to a fault it's emulating Link's Awakening because Link's Awakening is the Game Boy Color game. Well, it was originally Game Boy, but it became a Game Boy Color game, Link's Awakening DX. It's very similar in the way that the palettes are used. Very similar in like the fact that it's a game that's from the top down, but you can jump.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that to a fault, it is emulating the mechanics from Link's Awakening, is probably why I had much less of a hard time because I really liked Link's Awakening. I played that game many, many times. But yes, it's the idea that vertically the hit detection is kind of wonky, especially when you are jumping. And honestly, the way that I worked around that is I just did not get into situations as much as possible where I needed to dodge while also moving up. But I mean, it's one of those things that I had difficulty with at the start of the game, but I got better at it. It seems like you still have a lot of frustrations with it.
It
So
it feels like I'm not getting better at it. I'm now, 20 something hours into this game, and I still am finding myself frequently just unable to navigate spaces in a way that I am like I play a lot of games about navigating spaces. I love platformers, 3D and 2D. I love a lot of isometric games that this is sort of emulating. Like I also remember Link's Awakening and had a good time with that game, but don't recall ever running into this many situations. Admittedly, it's been so long that maybe they were there and I just don't remember them.
maybe you were just better at playing game.
Maybe. Maybe I was
There's
just better
definitely
at playing games.
there's definitely games that I play posthumously or not posthumously, but like after the fact that I played it when I was younger, and I'm just like, how did I beat this shit? And the answer is having a lot more free time. That's how.
That's fair. That's fair. Like yeah, maybe if I wasn't playing this game on stream, so it was like a few hours every week and more
Yeah.
like every other day, maybe it would like connect better and like solidify better, but like that's the major thing. I've also just found myself really struggling with like walls and especially like digging into them because it's an incredible ability, but sometimes it just feels like it doesn't work and I don't know why.
Yeah, I didn't equip that one.
It's great. It's fantastic. It lets me circumvent so many other annoying things in the game, but creates its own annoying thing.
Well, I
Um,
mean, there's lots of trinkets that give you maneuverability of some additional bonus.
mm-hmm.
I mean, the Wallower gauntlets, they're cool, but they rely on the wall. So I prefer things like the weird double jump boost thing or
Yeah.
the wisp that lets you kind of hover a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever found those, but they're good.
Unsure.
Um, Yeah, you got to the point where you actually uh, you got your review, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after that scene happened, it reminded me so much of the Chrono Trigger jury scene, where the game kind of judges you based on like the first like opening moments, like what you
Mm-hmm.
decide to do with the millennial
Fair. Yeah.
fair. Sorry, I had to pause in order to properly pronunciate. Um, I really really liked that, but I kind of wondered like what happens if like you don't do any of this stuff, and there are crazy people who bothered to try that, and there is in fact a second ending to the game if you are a model citizen, as the game puts it. So I don't know if I recommend ever trying that, but if you want to look that up, I think it's very interesting. Um,
I will say some of the things they ding you for are a little surprising, not just from a like, well, of course I did this because it's a game and that felt like a quest, but like more than one of them are like, I literally helped somebody.
yeah, so I mean, obviously, as an actual assessment of your character, it seems kind of wonky. But the point and the reason why people like looked into this is because it's like, okay, why is that considered a bad thing? And it's, honestly, from our standpoint as players, moralistically speaking, there's nothing wrong with doing a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but they're meant to be there as like this hidden challenge of not doing them,
Yeah.
right? So like it's saying, don't get the fishing rod, don't don't break any candles, don't kill the false moon, because the false moon is an optional boss, and it's the only thing you get from the false moon is you get access to the mirror, which is
And a
fast
save point.
travel and the save point. But I mean, it's just like these are all things that you don't necessarily have to do. Um, pardon. Hang on 1 second. I had Chipotle. I was gonna put this out here. I had Chipotle before we started recording, and I have queso in my throat.
Mm.
So, my apologies. Oh
Oh
no, I
well.
got queso. I got queso throat. Oh no. Okay. Anyway, yes, I thought that was very fun. I know that Yacht Club Games is they're very celebratory of the history of video games. So it was very interesting seeing like how they adapted certain things from the platform, which is the Game Boy Color, into a more robust medium, I guess you could say. It actually made me think. Did you see that there was a port of Link's Awakening to PC that uses your computer screen's full resolution, so basically you can see half the world at at any given time, and it's just like a
Very
little
funny,
tiny
but
Link.
no, I had not seen that one.
Yeah, it made me think of that. I'd like to like see a Mina the Hollower mod where you can kind of do that, or like just a version of it where it's like contiguous, so like there's no screen transitions. I'm sure someone could come up with something like that. But amazing speedrun game. Can't wait to see like some real speedrunning out of that. I'm sure people have already done a ton. Um, I know the obvious segue is to go into GDQ, but I'm actually gonna talk a little bit about Deltarune because Chapter 5 came out, and run in the same vein as Mina the Hollower, I can't really talk about it at full length because Neil he don't want to play things as they come out. He's the kind of person who will binge things on Netflix, I suppose, rather than watch something as it unfurls and participate in the conversations that come with that.
I I do watch a lot of anime as it's coming out
Okay, so why not Deltarune?
because I don't have a good answer.
Philosophically, what's yeah, that's what I thought.
Honestly, here's the real answer: is I tried to do it with Kentucky Route Zero and
Oh yeah, you
failed
hated that.
so miserably at it, and still haven't finished that game.
Wow,
That I'm
you haven't.
afraid if I start Deltarune before it's actually out, like if I really get into it, I will never finish it. I need it to just be out so I can just go through it.
But then you could participate in so many conversations. There's so many interesting things happening in the world of Deltarune,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't talk about them
I'm
because
sorry.
because Neil's here in the room. What I will say is that the most difficult chapter gameplay wise, for sure. I think that as far as the progression has been going, chapter 4 was certainly the most difficult up until then, and that just keeps ramping up, and I like that because I mean, Undertale, the first chapter of Deltarune, first couple of chapters, they weren't particularly difficult. They were very much like story first. Um, and I think that as more people come onto the team to work on this series of games, we're seeing a lot of more interest in just making actual crazy gameplay. And boy, does the gameplay get crazy in Chapter 5 for more reasons than one. Um, and the complaints that I hear about Chapter 5 are that it kind of is story light. I think that maybe it's worth playing through again and paying close attention to the things that are being said. Um, Chapter 4 was very much a big lore dump, and I can't talk about that either because Neil hasn't played that either. But a lot of the lore comes out in Chapter 4, and people are like, "Oh my god, this is all building up to something crazy in Chapter 5." Then Chapter 5 comes out, and people were kind of underwhelmed. I get it, um, but I really liked it, so I'm gonna leave it at that. What else have you been playing, Neil? I don't know if you want to go to GDQ now, but
I can talk about a few things. Real quickly, I finished Neo 3. I know you don't want to hear me talk about it much, but
I mean, I'm glad that you finished it.
I do want to say one thing. And that is, uh, we all know I'm not huge on the open world things, and they kind of did some like open worldy zone stuff in Neo 3, which works totally fine until you hit New Game Plus, because there's not really a reason to engage with it anymore in New Game Plus,
Hmm.
which means that there's just so little content to actually like go through for New Game Plus that it feels really, really disappointing, underwhelming. Uh, in previous games, New Game Plus is, hey, all of the levels are here for you to do again and like progress through and see the changes of. And in this one, it's like a lot of the game is built around these open zones. You still have most of your fast travel points unlocked already in New Game Plus. Uh, Finding all of the like little collectible guys again doesn't do anything for you, so there's no reason to do it. There's just a bunch of stuff like that that's very much like, so I guess I just shotgun through the main missions as much as I can, and there's, you know, 15 to 20 of those, whereas the other games are like 40 or so of those. So it's like a lot of the game is missing to engage with in that way. And it's really too bad. But I am done. Cool game. Uh, the game I actually want to talk about is Demon Tides, though.
Okay. You didn't play Demon
Because
Turf, though.
I did not play Demon Turf. I found out there's a prequel, or rather, I guess this game is a sequel, I
No.
should say.
Yes.
Demon Tides is a sequel to a game called Demon Turf, which I had never heard of. Uh, and I did not go back to. Demon Tides is a 3D platformer, though. Very much the like momentum based, like combo heavy as far as like your various abilities. You jump and do an air stall and then a double jump, and you'll get a different type of double jump than if you do your double jump right after the jump. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that game has been very, very fun. It doesn't control quite as like tight as a Hat in Time, for example. Like it's definitely feels squirrely sometimes, and like, oh Jesus, I'm losing control of my character a little bit. But it's very fast paced. It's very well constructed, and it kind of reminds me, construction wise, of Bowser's Fury, which I never actually played, but I know the structure of it, kind of the bunch of different islands for you to go and
Yeah,
explore.
it's like Mario Wind Waker.
Yeah, and this game is doing a very similar thing. There's a lot of ocean. You have a way to like swim through it super quick, and you can fast travel to all the islands you've been to, but a lot of the various islands are just kind of like, here's one or two or three sometimes like little platform challenges to get through and get some stuff, some gears is one of the things you're getting. You also get like costume pieces to make your character look fun and cute. You get some ability modifiers, so like, hey, you get a third jump instead of just a double jump if you want it. Those kinds of things. And I think I'm like near 2/3 of the game, and I've been having a really good time with it.
Good, good. I mean, maybe you'll want to play Turf after.
Maybe I might check it out.
I don't think it's going to be as feature rich because it was very much like an indie darling,
Mm,
but you know, generally speaking, the reason that it's getting a sequel to begin with is because it was good. So,
yeah,
all right, well that's good. Hey, speaking of sequels,
yeah.
I can go many ways with this. Okay,
There's a lot of sequels.
let's do the Grand Theft Auto 6 talk right now. And then
Oh, okay.
so Grand Theft Auto 6 is got gigantic industry stomping elephant in the room. Um, we finally have a price point for it, and there were people online who were saying this is going to be the first $100 game, and they weren't far from the truth. Base
I mean, they're
game
kind
is
of right.
yeah, more or less. There is the $80 edition, which is considered the base edition, and then there is a $100 edition, which is the one that has all of the things. Uh, I mean, I don't really know how much of that stuff actually equates to a more complete experience because the game ain't out. I don't even know if I'm gonna want to play this game when it comes out. I mean, I'm a low stakes individual when it comes to this. I know people at my work who have requested time off for the release date of Grand Theft Auto 6 because they just
Oh
want to sit
boy.
and play Grand Theft Auto 6.
Different
And
lives, different lives.
I get it. Okay, there's certainly been times where I'm like, man, I really wish I wasn't working. I wish I was at home playing this game that I'm really into. But I think that like when you actually like look at the cultural impact of a Grand Theft Auto game coming out, like yeah, they're literally workplaces lose staff for the sake of this game. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be Sony exclusive, I believe, for a certain amount of time. I don't know if they actually gave a specific set of dates for like when it will be released onto other systems. But I mean, the other thing in the room, the other gigantic elephant, is how Sony is eliminating physical media, uh, from their particular platform, and
Yep.
that's there's a big conversation to have there, Neil.
Well,
Um,
okay. So, on one hand, you and I have been PC gamers for a long time, and PC kind of made a transition like this quite a long time ago.
sure,
On the other hand, uh, Sony announced this kind of like the same day that they not just delisted something like 500 movies from their store, but removed those 500 movies from people who had bought them's profiles.
right. So I think that the thing that people mix up when it comes to talking about digital versus physical is that when you talk about digital, what you're not talking about having the data, right? You're talking about the license. And
Yes.
it's the idea of licensing out access versus owning the game. And like when I download a game uh from I don't know, from what other platforms are there other than Steam? From Epic Games. That is
Mm-hmm.
typically a license, right? But if I go to GOG.com and I download the game, that is just the game. So digital is still ownership in that regard. Each platform has its own set of rules and things that dictate like what actually you are granted as someone who pays money for this. And this has had a rippling effect across the industry. Um, some people are saying certain Twitter posts from Nintendo are being cheeky about this. And then Xbox is going to be revealing that they have some other plan for like how they're going to introduce like a more robust access to physical media. And then you have GameStop like being well, obviously they're gonna be freaking out because they're brick and mortar. They kind of rely on the fact that things are physical. They're gonna try and buy eBay now because that's I guess the next step. If you're not gonna have games being given to you new, then you try and take over the space where things are being resold. Um, but yeah, it's bonkers out there, man. And even Steam's caught some flack for it because the idea of licensing out stuff. But I mean, Steam's always been really good about it. It's just it's also stacked up against like the price of the Steam machines that came out, and it's the whole industry is just like in a really chaotic, shaky place.
Yeah, and
Um,
like Steam, at least from my experience so far, has been very good about things. For example, I bought Rocket League on Steam when Rocket League came out and was new. That game is free to play now. You can just play it on the Epic Store because Epic bought the developers and everything. Um, I still can uninstall and reinstall that game through Steam. Steam considers me to own that game. It is the updated version. Like it is a platform that has, from my experience, seemed to do right by it even when it no longer is selling a game or having access to it for new people on its platform.
right. And you know,
Uh
I agree. I have also had experiences where like I got Yakuza 0 on Steam, and then when they put out the director's cut or the HD edition or whatever it was, they delisted the original Yakuza 0, and people think that the original release of Yakuza 0 for PC is the better version.
yeah,
And I still have access to that because I bought that when it was available,
yeah.
right?
And
Um
so like when I look at that and then I would look at what Sony's doing, that's kind of the issue for me is I see what Sony does and say, like, I don't trust that as you as a company to not let me continue to have access to the things I paid for.
well, you know, I think that that's well founded considering some of the things that Sony's been up to. Um but yeah, it's one of those things where we kind of had like the weather balloon put up when they started releasing versions of the consoles that didn't have the slots for the CDs to begin with.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, honestly, I have no ill will towards physical media, but as someone with limited space and needing a lot of flexibility with moving things around, I prefer digital. I prefer digital ownership over digital licensing, but you know, as a consumer, the only choice that I have is to consume or not to consume. And I mean, when I say that I'm not really that interested in Grand Theft Auto, that's probably a pretty big contributor as to why. Um,
Mm.
you know, I think that we are in a position where they are leveraging this, knowing that everybody is so fucking excited for this Grand Theft Auto game. It happens like once every like what 7 or 8 years. It's like it takes two World Cups before a new Grand Theft Auto game comes out. Um, so yeah, they're like, okay, well now's the time to do it because we have the leverage. And to be fair, like Sony's been losing a lot of ground here. They Square's been mad with them, SquareSoft, so not SquareSoft,
Hmm.
Square Enix. Um, and then you know they've been trying to backtrack on a lot of their service games, and they've also been trying to withdraw the idea of like we're gonna be bringing our first party games only to our console from here on out. And then they show stuff like that God of War game. I'm just like I don't care.
Yeah.
So
There's other ones too. They made the fighting game community really mad with this whole Tocom thing, if you saw that too.
I didn't see that. No.
So the new Marvel game coming out very soon. And I think they might have made a correction to this by now, but when they first announced like, hey, this is coming to all these places, and it started showing up on stores, one of the stores was Steam. And one of the things about it was, hey, there's like 100 something countries that cannot buy this game, even though they can see it on Steam.
Oh
They cannot
Christ.
buy it because you can't get the Sony. You can't have a Sony account in those countries, and you need a Sony account to play this game even on PC.
Yeah, you know I heard about that being an issue outside of this.
Yeah, this first came up with that Helldivers 2 game, and they removed that requirement. They were like, we're going to do this, and everyone blew up so bad because, hey, like all these countries can't play the game anymore if you do this, and they want to keep pushing it. But then they were trying to push it with Tokon, and fighting game community got really pissed because, like, hey, guess what? There's a lot of really big fighting game names who live in countries that are on that list.
Yeah, I mean it's a very international community, the fighting game community. So yeah, that's a little bit messed.
Also, it's a huge property. Everyone in the world knows about Marvel shit. Of course, they want to play this game.
I wish I could live in a place that didn't know about Marvel.
Too bad. Disney's
No, it,
everywhere.
mm-hmm. It is a Disney game. You're right. Um. Okay. Well, that's all shit. That's a big
Yep,
old steaming pile to have to address.
sure is.
How about something nicer? I got a little nicer thing here.
Oh, we don't
Um,
want to front load all the bad shit first.
I'm making a nice big shit sandwich where the only
All right,
filling is this one piece of diced cheese.
all right.
And we get
What's your
two
nice
thick
news?
old slices of shitty bread. The nice news is that Bethesda has given out the rights to working on a Fallout game to Obsidian. Wow, they realized that Obsidian makes better Fallout games than them. But also Bethesda announced they're also making Fallout 5, and they're using the same engine as Starfield, which people were already complaining already feels dated. I think that the general consensus was that the engine for Starfield was more stable at launch than what you would normally expect from Bethesda, which is good, I
Mm,
guess. But also, it didn't really feel that much more robust than the Gamebryo engine that they've been using for 2 decades.
sure, sure.
So, I mean, I get it. I think that Fallout has found a certain amount of popularity and been very stable at holding on to that. Like, I can't go to Costco without seeing Nuka Cola as like a fucking 12 pack in glass bottles. So, I mean, I guess people still like their Fallout, and I know that season 2 came out for the show. I didn't watch it yet, but I'll probably get around to it eventually.
Huh. I watched
And
the first episode like weeks ago and forgot to get back to it.
well, I guess it's not very popular with us.
Eh,
Um,
I should
and
I should try to finish it.
the reason this is the filling of my shit sandwich is because I have to end cap it with the fact that Microsoft has offed so many employees in the Xbox division.
Not
So many employees.
not just that. They've
They're
done a
also
lot
planning
of
on canning
things.
more employees. So they canned like I don't know what was it like a third with plans to
So
can more.
I believe the number is 3,200. 1,600 was immediate, and the next 1,600 is over the course of the next year.
Imagine working there still.
There's
Good
more
lord.
to this than that, though, because this was also alongside a few other announcements.
Yes.
One of those announcements being, hey, we're trying to get rid of some of these studios, which included some pretty big names like Double Fine, a small studio, but one that the industry knows.
Small but prolific.
Compulsion, which just won a bunch of awards for South of Midnight,
Yes.
and Ninja Theory, which, like the week prior to that, announced Senua 3
Yeah.
or Hellblade 3.
Yep.
Like, they went on stage, announced this studio that we own are making this game, and then said, we're getting rid of this studio a week later. That's
They
not
later
a choice
clarified
that they would not have fucking known about prior to this.
that they are still going to make the game. So I don't know like what the situation there is. I mean, I think that I mean, I hate to like be Mr. Positive about this, but I think that there were some like good endings for this where I think there's a lot of studios that are like up for sale, right? But there's a lot of those studios who went back to being independent, like Double Fine. They
Yes.
retain all of their properties, they retain all their rights, and they're just
Yes.
going to be independent again. And seeing a studio land on its feet after an event like this is not common and a welcome surprise. So,
Now that said, the
right.
3,200 people being laid off are not including these studios that they're selling.
No.
So keep that in mind, number one. And number two, um, along with this announcement, they said, hey, we're refocusing on like our big games. For example, Fallout. Hence why they said, "Hey, Fallout games are being made again. Isn't that great?"
Yeah, dude,
Um,
don't be mad at us. We're
they
making
also
Fallout.
mentioned things like Halo and Doom. I bring up Doom specifically because one of the companies that seems to have lost, or studios that has lost a lot of their people, is id Software. Id, the creators of Doom, the creators of the id engine, uh, you know, especially at a time when Epic has announced Unreal 6 is like removing a lot of things that people love about Unreal 5. Microsoft is now getting rid of one of their studios that has an in-house engine that people think is very good.
Yeah, I think that the main thing for me was like the timing was so poor where it was like, we're getting rid of the studio that makes Doom. Also, here's the DLC, please buy it.
Yeah, it's wild. And like admittedly there's not been a ton of direct reporting about the id Software stuff. Some of this comes from a post that one of the higher up people from id made on like LinkedIn a day or two after this, which was like, hey, a lot of the people getting let go seem like the kind of people that would be supporting the engine, so I think the id engine is probably not going to be continued to be supported. Um, and that sucks a lot. That feels like a like sideline way to get more consolidation in a different direction, which is every single company stuck on Unreal, and that being like the only engine left for people.
Yeah. I think that a lot of the speculation on what's going on right now is that now that Phil Spencer left Xbox, they're like kind of backtracking on all the moves he was trying to make, where he acquired all these studios, and
Yeah.
um, I think that the new leadership that came in was like, this is too much. We need to downsize, and it's a very different strategy, and a lot of people are getting hurt by it. Um, I mean, I don't want to be like the person who is devil's advocate here, but I think that this is survival strategy in terms of the brand of Xbox, where there it's just right now. I mean, we talked about it already. The video games industry is in chaos. Um, we can't even begin to fathom the idea of another console generation, not just because of the hardware shortages, but because in terms of development, there's no justification for improving hardware. There's just we're having a long enough development cycles just to make games for the current generation. Um, so it just doesn't make
Also, hardware
sense.
prices just keep going up, so why would you want to upgrade at this point if you don't have to?
Right, and people aren't going to. I think that we're going to be stuck in this generation for probably another generation, and that puts us in a weird spot because, it's hard to drum up enthusiasm, especially in like the common consumer, like the non super enthusiasts like you and myself, who don't really understand why things are so shitty. Um, so yeah, I think that I don't want to justify what they're doing, but I can understand what's going on, is what I'll say. Uh,
Yeah,
and then
and I do think like we've been reporting on a lot of bad news for quite a while now, obviously, but I think this what is happening in the industry right now is not a shocker right now.
no,
It is something
no,
that we saw years ago. I think it kind of honestly maybe started with Embracer. They acquired a bunch of studios and then suddenly they didn't have the money to deal with these studios and a lot of places got shut down, sold off, and that's exactly what's happening at Xbox now too. Xbox is doing basically the same playbook, but on a vastly bigger scale in a way that is affecting not even just the studios that they owned, but a bunch of other studios that they were making deals with, that they were uh, uh, hiring on as support for things that they were trying to make. There's there's such a huge crash happening in the development side of this industry right now, and it's a crash that has been foreseeable now at this point for a few years.
I mean, they're almost like shadow companies, right? Where it's like we don't. I don't think many gamers will know what you mean when you say Embracer Group or Tencent or any
Yeah.
of these big publication companies that buy up studios and just kind of try and fund them to squeeze out some sort of profit. Um, yeah, so that's where we're at. Video games became too popular. I wish that they weren't as popular so that they wouldn't they wouldn't try and like squeeze so much money out of them. But hey, that's what indie games are for. Uh, so yes, the industry is a mess. However, the community is still strong, and I think that one of the shows of that is GDQ. Uh, Raised a whole lot of money all over again. I don't know where people keep finding money to donate to this capacity, especially in this day and age. But did you watch any particular runs that you wanted to talk about, Neil?
I only watched a few this year, but I did have a lot of fun with the ukulele and the impossible layer one. In part because I find it a lot easier to engage and be impressed by a run for a game that I have some experience with.
Right. If you don't have the baseline understanding, you don't really know why it's
Yeah.
so impressive. And that's exactly why I was super into the Balatro run that they did,
Mm.
which
Hmm.
which ostensibly was not a speed run. Um, it was just, how fast can we get to breaking the number interpreter in the engine, and they came very close against not being able to do that. Like the run was going to fail, and it kept like flip flopping, and so many things just kind of fell perfectly into place. And someone on the couch just kind of remembered this super niche strategy when things looked like they were over, and they went for it, and it worked, and it was just like this very triumphant moment. So, if you want to see a very different way of playing Balatro, I do recommend that. And again, in the same vein of like, it's impressive because I know what the game is like normally. The Super Mario 64 TAS, it's not the first TAS they've put together for Super Mario 64. It's kind of one of those games where it's just like we can always squeeze a few more frames out of the optimization here. But this is the most current version of the tool assisted speedrun, which is a TAS, where a computer basically inputs commands as fast as it possibly can in order to achieve results that are just not possible for a human to achieve. But watching it is just it's its own kind of art, honestly. So what
Not
I
just
recommend
as
is if
fast
you
as it can, but also with like the precise timings in a way that is basically impossible for a human to actually do.
right, and also if there's time that like it has to wait, there literally is artistry where like the taskers will just do a bunch of crazy things while they're waiting for like an animation to finish or something.
Yeah.
Um, I do. If you have not seen a Super Mario 64 run, I recommend watching a human do it first, and then watching the task do it. Um, but yeah, it's a really great event. It's a very reliable place to feel good about what's going on with the gaming community, and it's very much a celebration of gaming. So I do recommend checking it out if you're not familiar. There's yet a third elephant. A third elephant has hit video gaming, Neil.
In fairness, it's an elephant that many of us knew about.
Okay. Well, do you want to cover it since everybody knows about it?
Yeah. So unfortunately, the Games Done Quick had to cancel an event that they were doing in partnership with SNK. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
a big part of why is because SNK not that long ago got, let's say, mostly acquired by
Like 90 something percent acquired. They own the
yeah,
majority by a wide margin.
it is a pretty wide margin by the Saudi government, and that has been, let's say, speculation as to why, for example, there's that random ass like DJ guy and Cristiano Ronaldo as playable characters in City of the Wolves.
Why there's
Um,
bizarre ads advertising like weird
yeah,
like shit using SNK and fucking Fatal Fury shit. Oh, it's
yeah.
so terrible. Like, okay, just to like zoom out one more time, just before we can continue. The Public Investment Fund, the PIF, which is basically the Saudi Arabian government, they're like the third one. So we have Embracer Group, Tencent, and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, and these are like three pillars that are kind of like fucking up AAA gaming. So if you're
Yeah.
wondering what's going on there, that's it. But yes, so
Yeah.
GDQ, yes, they
GDQ. Yes.
tried to partner with
Um.
SNK.
So the other things to know about this, and like the fighting game community is hyper aware about this because this is also the same fund that has bought Evo, and a lot of people have feelings, we'll say, about that. Um, but the big thing here is the types of policies and ideals that the Saudi Arabian government may have conflict with a lot of the things that liberal and really liberal communities, especially ones that are donating to things like Doctors Without Borders, like GDQ does, um, aren't really a fan of that and don't want to platform uh, something that is owned by those people. They ended up canceling the event, saying, "Hey, sorry, we didn't realize that SNK had been basically bought out by this fund." So they canceled that event, which is too bad on one hand because, like, you know, another GDQ event of some kind would have probably brought in some more money, would have been really cool. But it's probably, I think it's the right thing to have done.
It's an interesting thing to talk about because there's one hand where it's like I'm glad that they did this because they became aware of like what the Public Investment Fund and what SNK was owned by and what that actually like coincides with. But at the same time, it's like why did SNK want a partnership with this what is essentially a very ultra liberal group to do this? And it's just like I mean there's part of me is like is there's an attempt to like modernize in terms of values, and that's certainly not the case. Um, but it's just a weird kind of osmosis between two very like antithetical ideals, where like how did this even get proposed?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that there's kind of just ignorance on both sides. Um,
I mean,
but I
honestly,
mean,
it might even just be like somebody who works for SNK knows about GDQ and reached out. That's
yeah, it
possible.
could be. I mean, I could totally see some alternate timeline where the Saudi Arabian government's like, no, you're not doing that, and then it gets canceled on that end.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a weird socio-political landscape that all this takes place in.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, I think that they definitely made the right move there. I'm glad that they did make a move on it instead of just being like, no, it's fine, because I think that would basically implode GDQ as a community. Um, anyway, so having said that, GDQ raised I think like more than $2 million.
I believe 2.4 this year.
Oh, nearly 2.5. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Wild.
that was for MSF, right?
Thought
Doctors
it was
Without
Doctors
Borders.
Without Borders, but I might be confusing because it depends on which time
MSF
of
is
year they do each one, right?
MSF is Doctors Without Borders. It's
Oh,
Military
okay.
Sans Frontières. It's just the French
Oh, right, right,
native.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's the same organization. So
Yeah.
yes, so it was MSF. Cool. All right. Well, that's good. I'm sure that they're going to go to the Middle East and help people who are being persecuted. Um. Okay. So we covered GTA 6. We covered Microsoft. We covered Sony. Thankfully, not a ton going on with Nintendo right now, so we don't need to do a lot of coverage there. Um. What else, Neil? What are we missing here? Surely there's more.
Uh, Probably. I've been so focused on those big ones. The Sony and Microsoft stuff especially were like the really big ones in my head that I don't even know, you know. I mean, I guess we you mentioned it, but we didn't really talk about the Steam machines.
Yeah. Okay. So the Steam machines.
Like they
Again, this
finally
is
are happening and coming to people, and they're
yes, people are
interesting.
receiving them, and and some people are very happy with them, and other people are pissed off. And I think that this is one of those situations where I think that Valve actually did have some missteps. But this is like a story within a story within a story where, like, it's you start talking about the Steam machines and like the how much it was priced, but then you also have to talk about the RAM shortages, and when you talk about the RAM shortages, you have to talk about the cartel that Steam had to work with in order to acquire the RAM, and like the things that they said to Steam or Valve, which is like trying to strong arm Valve and actually doing it. That's kind of a that sounds pretty cartelly, if you're asking me. Where literally people who worked at Valve were like, yeah, we would monthly have someone come to us and say, this is what we have, buy it or don't at the price we're saying, or else we're gonna go somewhere else. And it's just like, Christ, not even Valve is like being able to cut a real deal here. Um, so issues with the Steam machines. The first issue was the price. It was originally projected to be around $750. It's capped up over $1,000 before tax.
Yep.
Which is a wild price. I'm so glad to have existing hardware, Neil. It was
Me
really
too.
because if I'm someone who's getting into this hobby and I decided I was going to build a computer today, I would decide that it's not my hobby anymore. Um,
Yeah.
that was the first thing that is probably going to be on people's minds. The other thing was this device was originally advertised as being 4K 60 frames per second with frame generation. To be fair, um, and then somewhere along the line, Valve quietly changed that without any sort of notices or any sort of like updates. They just kind of changed the description on the page quietly, and people noticed, obviously. Um, and I don't know if this is reflective of the needs of like what they could source for the hardware or what, but it is certainly not a 4K 60 frames per second machine. I understand why you would want that at $1,000, but it's not what it is. So people were pissed off for that. And then the other thing is, because of the shortages on the RAM, it was supposed to originally be dual channel memory. So there's two slots for RAM modules inside the Steam machine. But because of the shortages, they could only source single stick, which, from a hardware perspective, doesn't really affect things that much, especially in terms of gaming. Like single channel memory is not gonna like be the end of the line for what's going to allow you to actually play the games you want to play. However, it does affect performance, especially when doing things like video editing. And because the Steam machines are advertised not just as a gaming thing, but as like a computer solution, that's kind of annoying. Some people are saying, well, actually, this is good because they put one 16 gigabyte module in here, meaning that if I want to upgrade later, I can to have 32 gigs or whatever. And that's, a very, very rosy tinted take on it, but it's just like there's a lot of compromise. And I think that because of this, the Steam Frame, the new VR solution that Valve is coming out with, I think it's going to get delayed
Mm.
significantly. I think that they're going to see the situation and how it played out. They're going to say, "Yeah, no, we can't do this. Not right now." So yeah, Steam machines. Despite everything, there are people who are saying, "Hey, this is really cool. I like this." There's other people saying, "I could have built this for like $300 cheaper. It wouldn't be like the same compact feel, but it will have the same performance for way less." And it's just like it revisits the question of like, who are these actually for, right? And like if you're a console gamer, you have a console, it's already sitting there on your mantle or wherever you put a console. I guess I don't have a console that much, so I don't really know where you do that. Um, but it's just like you if you're a console gamer, you have a console, you're not gonna be interested. If you're a PC gamer, you have a PC, you're not really interested. So it's just a very weird space to try and capitalize. But for what it's worth, it seems like supply can't keep up with demand, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them we've already covered, but at the same time, people do want them. So, if you're willing to shell out that kind of money for what it is, knowing what it is, then more power to you.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of really good stuff about the machine itself for those who do have it, but it is not something that makes sense for my life, so there you go.
No. You know what does make sense for my life?
An air
The
conditioner.
AYN. The no, I don't believe me. I've like looked at my room, my space, and like, how will I? How can I do an air conditioner in here?
Yeah,
And I just
no, I
can't.
know. I know. No, the AY on
Um,
Thor, yeah. You had to fix yours. I remember you talking about that. The hinge got messed up or something.
yeah, I'm gonna give you the full story now. I kind of glazed over a few details, but basically, I was taking a big dump on the toilet, and I was playing
Oh
it,
boy.
and then my phone rang, and I'm like, oh, well, it didn't ring, but it like didn't alert, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna put it down. So I put it down on the bathroom counter, and the bathroom counter where I live right now has kind of a bezel on the edge, and I didn't notice that it kind of got set more on the bezel. So I pick up my phone and I turn to my right and I just watch it in slow motion fall.
Oh no.
And it falls onto the tile floor of the bathroom, and the top screen comes off, and the
Oh
ribbon
damn.
cable that connects the top screen to the motherboard rips in half. And I'm just like, oh man, that's that's the end of that. That ruins my day.
Yeah.
And it's just that terrible. It's that terrible sensation of like, I really want to like try and do something about this immediately, but also I'm in the middle of taking a shit. So I had to finish my shit, do all the things involved with that, gather up the pieces of my broken AYN Thor, and just figure out, okay, well, what do I do now? And so I opened it up and I found all the broken parts, and I was like, is there any way for me to like just do a repair on the spot here? And you really can't. Like the ribbon cable that connects to the motherboard is extremely proprietary. It's like 3 layered because it has to transmit signals for the video, the touch signal, etc. And I was just like, well, guess I'm shit out of luck. But I contacted AYN Thor and the company AYN, not AYN Thor. Thor is the model of the
Yes,
product.
yeah.
But I contacted AYN and I'm like, hey, I really don't want to send this all the way back to China to get this like replaced or repaired. I do want it repaired though. Is there any chance that I can tell you what part I need and you can send it to me? And I gotta give them a lot of credit here because they're like, yeah, we can totally get you the part that you need, and we're gonna send it to you for free, and we're gonna include it in the package that you already have coming. And I was like, that's like perfect. And so when the package arrived, it was right there. And additionally, I got to give a lot of credit to the design of this thing because like it's a pretty compact device for what it is. But boy, is it relatively easy to disassemble and repair. Like it's built very modularly. So just got to give a lot of shout outs. It is working good as new after that repair. And I didn't have to pay anything to them. They were just like, no, we want you to be able to fix it. So I just want to give them a shout out. Um, I also should say the wait list or the wait time for getting one of those devices is still like 6 months. And they have also been affected by hardware shortages, but
Yep.
they have not raised the price significantly, especially with consideration to the fact that the specs for this thing are pretty out of this world for its form factor. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you're in the market for a handheld device, then I still say like this is it. This is like the end game. It's my daily driver. Most of my gaming happens on this thing now. I played most of Deltarune Chapter 5 on it. I played most of Mina the Hollower on it. And I played some of Mina the Hollower on it with the top screen not working. Like I literally was like, I'll just play it on the bottom screen. Because I didn't have to send it back, so I was like, well, I mean, it's still effectively a single screen device now. And it was really janky to like operate the operating system for Android with only one screen because it's not set up that way.
Yeah.
But I made it work. So, um, yeah, I don't know if I would buy a Steam machine for $1,000, but I have and will buy an AYN Thor for like the $500 that it costs. So, yeah, I was basically prepared to be like, if they can't send me the part and I can't repair it, then I'll just buy another one.
Fair.
They're great.
Fair. Well, with that,
That
everybody,
counts as good news.
yeah, that was good news. They helped you out. You got it repaired. It's like that's awesome. And it's a
Yep.
how much are those approximately?
Depends on the model you get.
But
The
like
max version,
what's the range?
it I think from like 300 to 500.
Okay. Yeah, compared to basically anything else you can buy that in game on. Those seem really reasonably priced these days.
We are not advancing in graphical fidelity. Just buy something that's not as modern and have fun. Play something
Honestly, if
fun.
you're into indie games, if you're not trying to stay like current and on the like high end games that are coming out,
Yes.
don't
You want
like avoid it. Play indie games. There's tons of amazingly good indie games.
Slay the Spire 2, I'm still playing it. Deltarune is an indie
Yep.
game. It's amazing. It's Mina the Hollower indie game. We talked about it.
hmm
Rewind. Listen to that.
I'm looking
Neil
forward
doesn't
to an
like it as
indie
much as me.
game. I'm gonna play another indie game very soon. It's waiting for
What
me.
indie game is that? What is that?
Densh Attack or
Oh,
Densha Attack.
the fucking train one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I,
That's what
are
I'm
you,
playing on
I,
stream after Mina. So
oh, that's great.
yeah.
Oh man, I know that it's still a little whiles out, but October. Do you have a plan for October?
Not 100% yet. I might try to do Resident Evil 9.
Ooh, I hope. I would like to watch that.
I
That's kind
know,
of like what I was hoping.
yeah, I'm not usually super good at staying current on horror games, but that one came out early enough in the year that I think I might be able to get to it this time. Um, and then like honestly, there's stuff coming out this year that I'm still very excited for. Control Resonant is coming soon. I'm really excited for that one. Um, is there anything that you have still coming? Like neither of us are that excited about fucking Grand Theft Auto 6, but like there's stuff, you know?
Yeah, no, this year's pretty stacked in terms of releases. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know that right now, if I open my Steam friend list, it's just inundated with people playing Pal World because the 1.0 got
Oh,
released.
sure.
I guess that is kind of Nintendo news, but we'll talk about it later if it's still relevant. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think there's lots to look forward to. I'm just trying to like live in the moment right now, so
So
uh, I'm
fair.
sure that I'm sure that as the things pop up on my wish list and they say that they're out, I'll be like, oh shit, and then I'll just kind of throw away whatever I was planning on doing for that day. Uh,
So fair. I think that's gonna be a video games goodbye, everybody.
Video games goodbye.
Audio Games is hosted and produced by Matthew Lane and Neil Jimenez. Our theme music is Recharging by Gooset. If you'd like to reach out to us, please email us at audiogamespodcast@gmail.com. You said you saw Odyssey, right?
I saw Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
I keep hearing very good things about it.
Um, I mean, as someone who really enjoyed the original story and appreciated like a lot of the different themes as they were like approached by other media. Like for example, there's Epic the musical. I don't know if you know about Epic the musical.
Not really.
Literally the Odyssey. Um, and then there's we have Odysseus in Hades too, and his presence often recants a lot of the things that happen in his own story. So, I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert on the Odyssey. I definitely, I have definitely read it. I've definitely discussed it in classes. Um, and I gotta say, I do think that the 3 hour Christopher Nolan film is a good film. I don't know that it portrays the characters the way that I personally imagine them. And that's
Mm.
because Odysseus, he lived on that beach for like 10 years outside of the city of Troy, trying to figure out how he was going to overtake them for King Agamemnon. And the story that Christopher Nolan presents is very much Odysseus is this sad dude who wants to go home, and bad things happen to him. Bad things happen to him and his crew over and over. And it tries to like build a very sympathetic repertoire with the character, whereas the Odysseus that I like, or well, not necessarily like, but the portrayal that I like, is that this is a dude who will do anything and become a monster essentially in order to achieve his goals. Like it asks the questions like where does a man start and a monster end? Like what is a man willing to do to survive? And I think that's like the crux of the story for me. And I think that they kind of like hand waved that for the sake of making Odysseus more sympathetic. It is a interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
It is different than what I like. I still think that it's an excellent film. Don't get a drink because you will pee. No problem.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours or something, right?
You will probably end up having to pee around the time where it's Scylla and God, what's it called? Charybdis, and that is a very cool scene that you don't want to miss
Okay.
because you gotta piss. Don't miss because you piss.
Oh, perfect tagline.